Hi there, my name is Ian Mobsby, your community missioner.
And I am Emily Hill, your parish development missioner.
And we are here to talk about the exciting new focus for renewal of our parish churches and how to develop a mixed ecology parish.
Over the last few years, many parishes have begun their missional journey by engaging with the Mission Action Plan process. We've begun to make small steps into mission and development of ministry in our post-COVID context.
We remember that our parish system, our parish churches, are extremely important, the powerhouses of our diocese, so that it is really important to all of us to see our parishes flourish. But at the same time, we remember that mission is essential to God and an essential part of the New Testament, that we are joining in with in the age of the church of the 21st century. So what is the mixed ecology parish?
Put it simply, a mixed ecology parish is where there is a dual focus. Firstly, to continue to grow and develop existing parish congregations and their worship, mission, and community activity, but also to establish new missional initiatives aimed at those who have either left the church or of those who have not been members of any church.
We're aware for many this approach will be new, and this is largely because in more recent times our churches have not considered mission because there were sufficient Christians to be able to sustain the life of our local parish churches. However, many periods of time before the modern period, parish churches were involved in both mission and ministry, hence why our parishes were established, some at the very beginning of Canada.
Many parishes were birthed in the age of Christendom, where Christianity was one of or the dominant religion, which gave the stable context for traditional ministry and religious services.
However, there have been seismic shifts in culture, and we find ourselves now in a culture that has been defined as post-Christendom, where the church is not the centre of the local culture or context, and in many places marginalised, where the local cultural context has been splintered into lots of different people groups and cultures. This fluidity has continued so that our local parish church contexts are constantly changing.
In this very fluid context, parish churches and the diocese hear Jesus' challenge in the New Testament to take the gospel to all these different cultures and groups. This means we have to consider this change seriously. We can no longer rely on being what has been called the attractional church, where we wait for people to come to us on our terms because they want baptism, confirmation, or something else. These remain important, but increasingly we need to be present to our localities to recover the confidence to know those who live and work in close proximity to our parish churches.
In this way, we can be missional by this relational connection and go where people go, with the aim of forming new ecclesial communities. The majority of people today either have never been Christian or part of a church, or have stopped being Christian and left expressions of church. This becomes key if we are to renew our parishes in mission and ministry. So to achieve this, the diocese seeks to be a mixed ecology diocese, where we hope parishes will renew themselves through becoming mixed ecology parishes, where our activity is not just worship and community, but expanded to a healthy expression of Christianity, of mission, community, and worship.
And to do this, as we have said, each parish, if it is to be mixed ecology focused, will need to build new ecclesial communities out of contextual mission, while at the same time developing and growing existing parish congregations. This will require us to be brave, to wait, and to listen for God, to take discerned risks, where our mission will always be about finding out what God is already doing in our parish context and joining in the opportunities.
This is not new. We just forgot about it for a while. And as Archbishop Rowan Williams has said, quote, "If church is what happens when people encounter the risen Jesus and commit themselves to sustaining and deepening that encounter in their encounter with each other, there is plenty of theological room for diversity of rhythm and style, so long as we have ways of identifying the same living Christ as the heart of every expression of Christian life in community."
A first place to start is for our churches to consider the various needs of those outside the church as much as those who currently are participants. For example, having church services on different days other than Sundays. Also, different forms of mission activity reaching out to different people groups and networks and cultures. Mission activities for those who do not know the basics of the Christian faith and for those who are unchurched, spiritual seekers who distrust church and Christians but are spiritually hungry.
And for these new missional initiatives, there will be a need for the parish to be prayerfully discerning, being committed to building up relationships with those who live and work in the parish, and to follow through a process of listening, loving service, forming community, attending to evangelism and formation, and largely once people become Christian, to form new contextual forms of worship services as part of the parish church.
So the Mixed Ecology Parish will start as a mixture of established congregations alongside new missional initiatives that we hope will birth new worshiping communities, all part of the same parish church. In such a mixed ecology parish church, there will need to be a relationship between the various aspects of this mission life, with a focus on unity in diversity, not unity in conformity, and where parish governance will need to get more diverse, reflecting the different people and activities that will be part of such a parish church.
So this will change ministry in our parishes by deepening it. We are reminded that leadership in our parishes will be increasingly teams led by an ordained rector or priest in charge, and they will increasingly need to see the parish context a bit like a garden. Jesus often used the metaphor of gardens to express missional understandings. So leadership teams will be called to be gardeners who know all the soil types, the different spaces of shade and sun, so they can then grow plants into flourishing. Similarly, we need ministers of the gospel who know the local parish cultural context, the different people groups, to be relationally integrated into these parish contexts for effective mission and ministry. So this needs lay and ordained leaders who are restless for mission for the gospel of Christ.
And in this way, these parish-based leading teams can lead mixed ecology parishes into planting new seeds for God's kingdom. Here are some examples of mixed ecology parishes that reflect the local parish mission and ministry needs.
And this leads to three important questions. How will the parish church catch the vision? Who will develop the mission and ministry? How will these mission initiatives relate to the wider body of Christ and the diocese? Well, as we said earlier, it will need to be a team approach. This is not extra work for ordained clergy, although it most definitely will require leadership. In the diocese, we have been recognising the need for three different forms of missioner to be deployed. And it is particularly what we are calling commissioned missioners, who we are training as lay volunteers who will lead some of this contextual mission in a mixed ecology parish context. We are wanting to grow the number of commissioned missioners alongside other lay vocations, such as readers, evangelists, worship leaders, youth workers, and the rest, where commissioned missioners will work with parish clergy to help develop mission initiatives. Parishes may even choose to pay locally for either a commissioned or a licensed lay missioner, where the licensed lay missioner will have greater responsibilities, and on very rare occasions, ordained missioners might be deployed in a mixed ecology parish context.
And so this takes us to the question, well, where do we start? There are three things to think about. What are we already doing? How could this become more mission-shaped? For those who are on the edge of the church, who really struggle with one foot in the church and one foot out, what attractive forms of church could we build? For the majority of people with no connection to the church, what new forms of mission can we create? By engaging with these questions, by developing mixed ecology teams of parish clergy and new forms of lay missioners, with a dual focus on developing what already exists and giving priority to new missional initiatives, we hope that parishes will grow in confidence in their mission and ministry, and that this will take parishes back into flourishing. And you are not alone in this endeavor. Ian and I are here to support you, and we are currently seeking to form a cohort of first-wave mixed ecology parishes where this vision has already begun to be incarnated in your context, where we can support and offer training and other supports as you begin to develop a mixed ecology parish. We will be setting up new training through the Niagara School of Missional Leadership, and we hope that mixed ecology first steps can be fully included in the MAP process.
And through all of this, we hope that not only will your parish grow and flourish, but that it will enable many parishes and indeed the diocese to dig deep in all the challenges of our age, sure in the foundation of God's love for us and for our churches.